I earlier promised, destruction of forest remains one of the biggest challenges for conservation efforts in the country. But picture a place where there is no formal law or government forest officers, but where 330 square kilometers of forest land remains intact. That is the story of the Loiter forest in Narok County, where the local Maasai community has defied modern-day conservation challenges and managed to preserve the forest thanks to tradition and the respect for the Maasai Loibon, whose word is as good as law. Our senior reporter Rita Tinina explains.
The wanton destruction of forests continues unabated. Charcoal burning, illegal logging and encroachment into forest land pose the biggest threat to the survival of forests in the country. Kenya has been struggling to increase its dwindling forest cover for years. According to the Ministry of Environment, the country's average forest cover stands at 7.2%, 2.8% short of the recommended minimum over 10% cover. And there are consequences, from unpredictable weather patterns, long drought periods, soil erosion, flooding, to dried rivers. The country is feeling the effects of climate change firsthand. With many forests, including the Mao forest, the country's largest water tower struggling to survive. There is a success story of conservation, albeit in the face of mounting environmental challenges, population growth and modernization. Tucked in the remote interior of the south of Narok County in Loita is the Loiter forest, or as it is known here, the Naminangio forest, which translates to the forest of the lost child.
Samani anasikia kuna mtoto amepotea hapo. Sijui mtoto alienda kukula matunda moja mbili tatu kufika mahali akakosa mahali ya kurudi sasa mahali nimetoka.
Up to now the forest is called the forest of the lost child. No one knows where the child went.
From chirping birds, the sound of insects, pristine waters flowing freely in the many streams in the forest, the tall and gigantic trees, some centuries old, the picturesque barks of trees, to the hundreds of trees which fall naturally. It is as natural as it gets.
Watu wamemaliza misitu ni yao. Sisi tunakuja kusema, hai, tukikata hii misitu tutaenda wapi sisi?
Loiter forest remains intact, and it has nothing to do with any formal law or policing by the government. It is all thanks to the efforts by the local Maasai community through the Ilkimpa Conservation Association.
We started this organization as 10 Boma, and then gradually we moved to our other 9 villages.
Ili kona letu yote tuangalie misitu isiharibiwe.
The 330 square kilometer indigenous Loita forest is home to dozens of wildlife species, including elephants, buffaloes and lions.
Inazaenda kama zaidi ya 100 kilometers. Hakuna mabomas, ni msitu tu, ndovu, wanyama yote ndio naishi.
At the Loiter Forest Rangers camp, we find rangers getting ready for their daily patrols of the forest. Their brief is to monitor animal safety, illegal logging, charcoal burning, or any suspicious activity in the forest.
Tunaangalia kama dropping, tunajua ini elephant umepita hapa, unaona trails. Tunaangalia kama kuna any injured.
The rangers give daily reports complete with satellite images and GPS coordinates of what they come across.
Kwa mfano tumepata mnyama ameuliwa, tunachukua picture and then tunamark hapo, na tunachukua picha na coordinate ndio tupate kutuma kwa report yetu.
They work with 9 community informers to keep the forest safe. The reports are made to the Kenya Wildlife Service and the Ilkimpa Conservation Association. With the support of the International Fund for Animal Welfare, the locals have managed to keep the forest out of bounds for charcoal burners, loggers and those keen on encroaching into the forest.
Vile tulikuja kuona maana msitu, hakuna mwenye ilikata, hata umeona.
For the Maasai, livestock means everything, and their conservation efforts are paying off. The forest provides a sanctuary for their only source of livelihood.
Hii mzito wamesaidia sisi sana kwa sababu ng'ombe wanakula nyasi, watalete mvua, wanalete mvua.
Tunapata benefit sana. Kwa hatuwezi kupata kiangazi zaidi.
Watu wengi wanatamani sana inatuletea mvua.
Local youth too are benefiting from conservation through employment. The rangers are drawn from the 9 villages neighboring the forest. We find Kisima Kone taking photos of trees near the rangers' camp. She has come to like photography. She is among 59 members of 6 women groups who through the Ilkimpa Conservation Association have been taught to embrace conservation and appreciate nature.
Sutoni ni mradi sana.
Conservation through the eyes of a woman. Kisima, now in her early 70s, has never set foot in any formal classroom, but she knows the benefits of conservation.
Msitoni mzuri sana hata napata kuni.
They don't go and cut the live trees, but they collect this dead wood for their firewood.
Even for building their households, locals can only use wood from trees that have fallen naturally in the forest, which hold a special place for the community.
The forest is a sacred place, so we use it for ceremonies. So it has been conserved because, you know, without a forest, the community will not have places to go to do their ceremonies, like, you know, blessing the women to get children.
Kwa ajili ukitaka dawa ya ulcers, ukitaka dawa ya magoti, ukitaka dawa ya worms, tunapata wapi?
With the forest largely intact, one man has helped to keep the community on the straight and narrow on matters conservation. The chief Maasai Loibon, Mokompo Olesimel of the Senteu lineage, who is considered the custodian of the Loiter forest.
Chamane yao ni Loiboni. Sasa alikuwa anataka katwe, takwa uswe, takwa awekwe mambo mingi yote.
Loibon ni kama president wa Maasai. Role yake ni kubwa sana, watu wanamsikiza.
The Loibon is considered a diviner and ritual expert. The locals say he can foretell the future. He is one man with an unrivaled and powerful influence on the local community. His son tells us the forest remains close to his heart.
Akisema kitu inafanyika, kuna mtu anamrudishia maneno yote ile. Akisema tufanye hii, watu wanafuata.
Just how the locals have managed to preserve the forest remains the envy of many conservationists. Local elders are keen to pass the conservation baton down to generations to come.
Mzito hakuna maana hata kushinda ng'ombe moja, hata ng'ombe 20. Ng'ombe anasakufa. Ng'ombe 100 anasakufa kwa kiangazi. Lakini kesho akipata ng'ombe 10 ama 5 kama yuko na msitu, tasaongezeka hata itasidi imekufa kwa sababu ya msitu. Msitu ndio inaleta mvua.
Despite modern-day conservation challenges, the local Maasai community has managed to preserve the Naminengio forest. This is their natural treasure. Rita Tinina, KTN News, Loita.
All right, very interesting report there by senior reporter Rita Tinina. And that's how we wrap it up on all the stories we had lined up for you tonight here on Checkpoint. So, of course, as usual, I have the 2 guests or 2 panelists.